He worked for us, EUsupply.com, which was a startup in 2000. So the dot-com boom, I was right at the beginning of that. It was a tendering platform, reverse auction platform. So it was quite novel in its time. And then I worked for Coins, the ERP software house, for 3.5 years. But for the last 20 years, I've had two businesses, yes, now for the last 15 years, trying to leverage technology, trying to bring the industry kicking and screaming into the 21st century. To try and just open their eyes. And where we are now with Single Point Solutions is we're a data and analytics specialist in construction. We have product insights control, which is pretty novel. There's nothing really like it in the industry. And we're trying to look at through the lens slightly differently than a lot of Comtech is happening with regards to we're looking how businesses run the business as opposed to necessarily delivering the projects on site so much. It's coordinated everything together. Are we going to make a profit? Have we got work for next year? How can we do supply chain management better? All those back office things, bring it together. Mm-hmm. So very much from the lens of ERP-based data as opposed to on-site based data. So it's making business decisions. So when I've been at Tech Fest and places like that, there's lots of good stuff going on in the Comtech world. But when I was walking around, nobody was talking about what I was doing. I talked to a number of vendors, number of people there, and they're all going, oh, that's a good idea. And we've been trying to do this now for probably 15 years since we're doing and using data. So it's an interesting subject. And I think we're trying to be a catalyst for change in the industry from our end. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's our message to clients is analytics and looking at data. It's a journey and you've got an endpoint, but actually it could be a quite circuitous route and that endpoint can change. And it's to be agile. It's to be not have a data strategy if they've got one, for instance. It's not a set in stone and everything. It's an agile tool to live and breathe and be part of what the business needs. It's really interesting. On that, the fact that you've mentioned it is a journey. I would say we've got our platform now, which provides dashboards across whole business, house builders and contractors, and we've helped probably about 30 odd clients to get going on analytics. And there's not a lot of difference. So you mentioned there the larger contractors. We're finding the smaller contractors more agile and wanting it more. Sizes, and that's part of my mantra is that the size and scale of a business should not be a barrier to good BI, good analytics, and good AI potentially as well, because it should be there for the masses. It's not just for the big boys. And what we find is the bigger the client, they tend to be more tech focused. We must have a platform. We must get the tech right. We must do this. The smaller end clients, they are talking about a use case. We need to solve this because it's going to help our business now. And they're just a lot more agile. It's interesting. Sense. Absolutely, Yoshi. That is the critical piece. And it should be then, once you've captured it, it's captured once. And in the construction industry, Excel is everywhere. And potentially then there's not end user tools that captures the data. And we always say, if you can capture the data, get it into a database, we can use it because we can consolidate data cross-platform. So that's the critical piece. But capturing that data at source. And it's using tools. Now, there's a plethora of tools out there now that is great and it started to do that. But it's taken quite some time to get to that position. But absolutely, you hit the nail on the head that what you don't want to do is to create, hang on a minute, I've got to fill this in and do that. No, I just don't have time in today's world. So it's got to be part of their day-to-day processes. And that's why any data strategy really needs to look at specific use cases and how the business is using, rather than just some tech project or big hairy goal at the end. It's to try and solve problems now. So it could be, data strategy. How do we capture, EGRNing on site or accidents on site, rather than somebody have to sit there and write out something or do something. No, he's literally walking around, clicks a camera on his phone, does two things on his phone, capture, bang, got it. It's an incident. I've got it. That's into the cloud. That's into a database, and you can report on it, James. And that is one of the adages that we talk and hear a lot. I talk to lots of people, both on the data chat, my podcast. I've interviewed some world leaders in the data world, and a lot of their messages they talk about. The other, is if you're going to fail fast. Really get in, learn, and then go on an iterative. And it's all about the people who are leading and the main voices in the industry, in the data industry. It's all about iterative and move on, and this big bang. And most of these people are not technologists or IT people, So going back to, and then looking at bureaucracy, and the other thing is education. I think, Yoshi, on that is getting the business and show them what the art of the possible is, of where you can get to, and then show the bite-sized chunk. But it is, and that's what, part of my role as it's great being on this podcast, and why I started Data Chat was to act as a catalyst and an education tool to I'd show the people in the industry what the art of the possible is and what other industries are doing and how we can catch up and not, learn. Some of these industries have been doing it for 20 years. Analytics have been around and AI has been around for 40 years. One of the guys, don't know whether I can get my crystal ball out. Yeah, I was part of that .com boom and worked for the platform. And then, well, basically at that point in time, the solution we were creating was ahead of the technology. It was trying to do tendering online. So we all know how many documents need to be passed around, and we were using 50 dial-up to get it onto the internet, let alone broadband. ADSL hadn't been invented in the day. So it was ahead of its time. I mean, and it's only now, which is interesting, that there are tendering platforms, and I think they're pretty much standard use, but there's probably still companies out there sending documents around in post and everything. They're still not caught up. Unfortunately, the great ideas, but the market wasn't there because it couldn't cope. Now, I think the market's there with AI. However, at the moment, I think the key issue is the over, as we say it, and I'm trying to think the politically correct best word saying it, that the hyperbole and saying what AI can do and what the reality is are two different things at the moment.
Yes.
I think, technology companies are saying, we're AI driven, we've got AI this, and you scratch beside the surface and it's very simple. It's just basically ticking a box. But unfortunately, I was at a presentation recently, talking about AI agents and everything. And the messaging was, we can put an agent over your data, connect into your system, and we can do all this. Look and have a demo. Yeah, really? What's the state of the data? And then you scratch away. Oh yeah, it has to be a well created, very clean, good set of data. So if it's an old database structure of a system somebody's had for 20 years, masses of data, can you stick AI over it? Absolutely not. You've got to sort the data out. I mean, that's part of our expertise, what we do, and we've got I would say, a construction data layer that sits over an ERP now. That's our main AI that you can then dip AI into. So we have a curated layer we've developed. That's part of our main IP in our product base. So the opportunity for then leveraging AI, it could be enormous. We've spent probably 10 years developing that overall knowledge. But the problem is that the messaging going out by a lot of the technology companies is going to solve the world. It will do this, that, and everything.